What is up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to episode 10 of the Bling and Branding Podcast, where we come to be entertained, educated, and elevated. In this episode, I sat down with Roman Pikalenko, who is a full stack ghostwriter, professional storyteller, and full time lover of flamingos. And if you don't know what a ghostwriter is or what it does, fear not. We will be going over that and so much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. See you on the flip side.
Hi, my name is Roman, and I'm a guest on this podcast. I was told to introduce myself, so the way I'm gonna do it is like this. I used to be a 9 to 5 employee, and I was completely lost before that, during that, still a thing, a little bit lost on what the hell I'm doing. But thankfully, at some point, I started building my personal brand on LinkedIn, and eventually I quit that 9 to 5 to start my own ghostwriting business. Now I am ghostwriting for people in climate tech, consultants, coaches, small business owners, both on LinkedIn and email. And I get invited on wonderful podcasts like this. So,
Oh my
hi,
goodness.
I'm
Hello.
Roman.
I'm so happy to have him on today, you guys, because I've been following him for quite some time. I have some burning questions that I cannot wait to ask him today. But my first one
Ooh.
is, some people might not know exactly what ghostwriting is. Like this term has been thrown around a
Mm.
lot recently on LinkedIn. And if you're not like in the business, I feel like people don't know. So how would you
Mhm.
describe exactly what ghostwriting is to people that don't know?
I will describe it. I will start it like this. I will describe it what it's not. It's not a freelance writing. A lot of people that come from freelance writing background just rename themselves ghostwriters, and it
Mhm.
doesn't work that way. Because a freelance writer is essentially someone who will write anything for any price, just to work with you. They don't have a defined niche. They don't have a defined process. They deliver a very specific copy, but also spread out everywhere, which in my opinion is poor positioning, which does not allow you to scale your business.
Mm.
Ghostwriters essentially are your one person, one stop show for, in my case, building your presence on LinkedIn. So a
Mhm.
ghostwriter will be someone who understands brand strategy, content strategy, how to write content, how to interview you, how to manage your account if you're into it. I'm not, or tell you how you should do it, how to build relationships on a platform, and how to essentially not just, you know, get likes and impressions. We don't care about that. What we care
Get
about is
leads.
opportunities.
Mhm.
Not just leads, but also opportunities, the right type of opportunities. I mean, this for me right now is an opportunity. I will get exposed to your beautiful audience. Opportunities might be hiring, scaling, new offers, fundraising, whatever it is, but leads, of course, as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that you bring that up. I actually had a great conversation with another guest last week where he was saying that not every person that is involved with your company or business needs to be a customer because there's some people
Mm.
that really carry
Oh, yeah.
weight in terms of being like your fan or connecting you to other people or because it's free 99 to go ahead and like and share and shout from the
Mm.
rooftops how much you love something. So yes, I think that's a very
Yeah.
valid point.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, coughing here, or choking on water, but yeah, definitely not everyone following your brand has to be a client. If If that was the case, I will have about 7 followers, maybe 10, if you
Yeah.
consider all the one-on-ones I've done. And that will be very sad.
It would be sad. Yay for evangelists and people that love to support just for the sake of it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
oh yeah. I started without having to, um, essentially think about my business. When I
mhm,
started building my brand, I just thought about it as a safety net for the future. I had no idea what the hell it would be. I was
yeah,
just told as a marketer, to stand out, you should have something of your own. And someone
mhm,
introduced me to LinkedIn, employer branding, personal branding, and I was like, this is nice. It's probably better than Instagram, that I envy a lot, but completely suck in terms of taking pictures for.
yeah.
So let's give it a go. It's only maybe a year into my writing that I started giving some kind of monetary opportunities a go,
Mhm.
and almost another year before I transitioned to actually making money off of LinkedIn.
I know, I feel like so many people on LinkedIn, like, kind of forget that it takes a lot of building, it takes a lot of foundation laying
Yeah.
before anything really gets off the ground, and it's kind of disheartening when
Hmm.
someone starts something like, "Well, shit, why don't I have any clients yet?" It's like, "Well, you need to build your authority first." Like
Yeah. I'll tell you a story. I had a guy slide into my DMs and he's like, I'm not sure what a ghostwriter is, but would you be able to come in, work with us for a month, and then we do maybe a monthly retainer, depending on the price, 15 minutes a day? I'm like, what the hell do you mean? Then he said, we have a product launch in a month and we need to boost like our visibility. And
Uh-huh.
this is the opposite of how you should be thinking in terms of what content is. Any content,
Yeah.
LinkedIn
15
or I
minutes
don't know, graffiti on the wall. Yeah, it takes time, consistent
does.
time.
It does. You need 15 minutes to, like, get your brain awake.
More for me. I think my brain is asleep for the first 2 hours. My body is moving.
I feel that just zombieing around, just waiting.
Yes, yes. Thankfully, my body throws itself into the gym, so I'm not entirely useless, but I
Good
used
for
to
you.
be. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, actually, my most burning question for you today, Roman, is where the heck did the flamingo thing come from? I know that, like, that's a
Hmm.
huge cornerstone of
Hmm.
your brand. How did this happen? How did this come about?
It's an accident. It was an accident.
It's an accident.
Yeah, in the early days of me figuring out what I should post about, um, I I think I made a post about something related to personal branding. I'm not even sure, but I attached a photo of me wearing a flamingo shirt.
Mhm.
For those that don't know, it's a very black short sleeve shirt, button up shirt, with basically a bunch of flamingos littered all over it. And if you start following me, you'll notice that it pops up a lot.
Yes.
Um, and people noticed it, left a few compliments like, "Oh, it's a cool shirt," or "cool flamingo shirt" specifically. And something in my brain clicked that maybe this could be my
Yeah, ride this wave.
cool differentiator.
Mhm.
Maybe, yeah, yeah, but to reinforce it, I had to think like, does it even make sense? Because back then, I knew two people that were using some type of emoji
Mhm.
successfully. One
Mhm.
is Leah Turner with her
Yeah.
rainbow, and she's
Mhm.
still slaying it.
She is.
Another one was Chloe Fox, but she rebranded, and she does more community building for STEM brands. But back then, in her content, you would constantly see her talking about watermelon funky socks, which stood out to me a lot because it has nothing to do with her business, but it's
No.
like this one thing.
Yeah.
And flamingo was potentially something that I could resonate with because everyone else had like fire and rocket emoji, right?
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
and then the next question I had to ask myself, what about like flamingo as an animal? Isn't it boring? I don't know anything about flamingos besides where they get their color from. And the next best thing that came to me was otters. But then I also knew that otters have a lot of dark facts about them. Just Google, like, dark and evil stuff about otters. They're cute, but they also, like, uh, assault their young and females,
Oh
and they're
god.
very aggressive. And Yeah, I probably will shatter a lot of people's immature followers with this podcast episode, but I did not want to be associated with that. And
That makes
there's
sense.
literally nothing bad you can say about flamingos.
Flamingo, okay.
Um, yeah, besides maybe like they'll maybe buy it, but it's not really common. Um, so from brand standpoint, it's a very safe position because there
Yeah.
is literally nothing you can associate negatively with me. So I started using it first in just comments. Whenever I comment on someone's post, I will just add the flamingo emoji. Then I slid it into my name on LinkedIn. Then
Mhm.
I added it very small flamingo in a corner of my LinkedIn banner,
Uh-huh.
and then it kind of grew over a few weeks. No one really
Mhm.
noticed, so I just slapped it there on a bigger size, and that's when people start actually asking what's up with flamingos. So I had to make
Yeah.
an explanation. I've basically been retelling the same story for quite a while.
No, I think honestly, the people that do pick something to kind of use as their brand representation that's, universal, like everybody knows what a flamingo is, right? Everybody knows what a
Hmm.
rainbow is, like all those types of things. Even if you don't remember the person's name, like you're like, "Oh, that flamingo guy that posts about
Yeah,
ghostwriting." Like, "Oh, that
it happens now.
tattooed British lady that like talks about, unhingedness in the corporate world and whatever." I think it's so important to create an association with your personal brand because obviously you're a
Hmm.
standalone figure, right? Like you need like product placement, if you will, or something to like latch onto to associate so that people can like remember who you are and keep you at top of mind. So I think what you've done with the flamingo is actually super ingenious.
It started as an accident, turned into slight strategy, which I think
Yes.
like all the best things are
Oh,
accidents.
absolutely they are. All the best things are totally accidents. Um, and funny story for my listeners here. I got you mixed up, and I'm gonna tell you who I mixed you up with because remember when I slid in and was like, "Oh, the dinos," or whatever. I said
Mm,
something about dinosaurs.
mm-hmm.
There is another man on LinkedIn who looks very similar to you. He's fair-skinned, got dark brunette hair, and his name is Rowan. And he is obsessed with dinosaurs and he
Oh.
talks about dinosaurs. And so I have dyslexia. And so I mixed your guys' names up because I reached out to both of you at the same time and I reversed it. And then you're like, I don't know what you're talking about dinosaurs. And I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. I like flipped the two people.
It's fine because I actually thought you were referring to Sam Brown. He's another dinosaur man on LinkedIn. There are a couple of them.
Yeah, see, the people that pick associations with things, they really stick out in your mind. So guys, if you're trying to start a personal brand, do your
Yeah.
research, find something that you resonate with and freaking go with it.
Yeah, and if I can plug in, actually, if you're looking for that brand moniker, it doesn't even have to be an emoji. It can be just a trait or
Yeah,
something else that's a bit more tangible. And
for
I'll give
sure.
you two examples. I have a friend, JC Van Bruhel. He's a LinkedIn coach as well and
Mhm.
solopreneur. And his brand is more known for the purple color, like in general.
Mm.
He really
Yeah.
likes his purple color. Another guy is Jason Vanner. He runs a branding agency,
Mhm.
and his brand moniker is more of a alter ego, which is Sassy Jason. And he has like a
Yeah.
hashtag Sassy Jason that he uses in a lot of his content because
Mhm.
he's very sassy. And so he's known for that. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be an emoji.
No, it doesn't. No, exactly. It can totally be anything. I have definitely rebranded a couple times in my career. Out of a little bit of necessity, but also out of, just growth. You grow and change. Like it's okay to rebrand. I feel like some
Hmm.
people feel like once they pick
Yeah.
something, they're like, now I'm married to this. But, once you
Nah.
grow, once your career grows and you get new opportunities and things fit and resonate better, like it's totally fine to I went from Ricky the Recruiter hashtag and was like all my old companies colored out and I
Mm,
recently rebranded to hot pink and disco balls. Like, I kind of, like, went from disco balls, my old company's colors, in Ricky the Recruiter, and then I slowly integrated disco balls into it, and now I've fully shifted to girly pop, and now I'm hoping that people
I
see,
like
like,
it.
pink and disco balls, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, that chick Ricky."
I like it. I have not seen anyone with the disco balls, so you definitely have a corner market there.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I love disco balls because they reflect light so beautifully, and it is just a ball of broken glass, but it all comes together to make something beautiful,
Mm,
and that's kind of my whole, like, symbolism behind it, and it's also just super pretty, obviously.
I like it. I like
Thank
it. I like when
you.
people take random things and give it a meaning that is
Yeah.
actually, thoughtful to them. That takes creativity, so I like it.
Oh, thank you, sir, thank you, sir. So, I actually super love your style of copywriting, like,
Ooh,
if
thank you.
if anybody listening here goes to his profile, the way he describes, his different work histories is super entertaining, like, I specifically love the one about
You
your
read that.
bar. Oh, yeah, heck yeah, I read it. You like, just certain themes that you have, like, you keep on going to how you cut yourself all the time at your bar job, and I just the way you wrote everything was so entertaining. How did you get to this style? What were your, like, biggest inspirations? Like, tell me kind of your journey for getting to this space that you're in today.
Okay, let's start with how I got into copywriting and writing in general.
Mhm.
That literally started at the same time when I got to write for my own personal brand,
Mhm.
which was the same time as I started the job that I left last year.
Uh-huh.
The way it happened is before I got my job, I got rejected by a marketing agency, and the guy there literally told me, because I ended up second,
Mhm.
we would have taken you, but the marketers that really stand out to us are the ones with something of their own, whether it's a social media following, a blog, a podcast, whatever it is, to show practical skills.
Of
And I had
course.
none of it.
Mhm.
Uh, Yet in university and high school, I was envious of like Instagram influencers, but it felt very inaccessible. And
Mhm.
around the same time, as I entered a new job, my colleague and now friend introduced me to his mutual friend who introduced me to LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And I thought maybe I should give this a go. So the way I started was just start writing content on LinkedIn, and it was without much strategy. I
Mhm.
heard that you're supposed to have like three content pillars. So I picked something that I was knowledgeable in, something
Mhm.
I was passionate about, and something I was interested uh, in learning.
Okay.
So the knowledgeable was digital marketing,
Mhm.
passionate sustainability, and interested in personal branding. Sustainability, unfortunately, did not receive as much traction,
Uh-huh.
and I removed it.
Mhm.
And then digital marketing got absorbed by personal branding because, well, personal branding on LinkedIn is kind of a hot topic.
Of course.
Um, and then how I improved is just a lot of repetition. I tried a few courses here and there,
Mhm.
but really just sticking to it almost daily. I've been posting on LinkedIn. Now I try to write daily, but not necessarily for LinkedIn. It could be
Mhm.
journaling, it could be email, it could be some new offer or free resource that I've come up with.
Mhm.
Now, writing is just a daily habit for me, and I've drawn a lot of inspiration from, well, Leah Turner is definitely one of them at the
Yeah.
beginning, but
Mhm.
then more casual writers like Matt Barker or Amy Elliott, who are both witty but also straight to the point.
It's like
Um,
stream of consciousness, I would say, which I'm a fan
yeah,
of.
yeah, and when you are on the platform for that long, you get exposed to all kinds of people,
Totally.
and they all affect your style to a degree, even if you just read it.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of tips I had on uh, clear over clever or remove the fluff, and then it
Yeah.
just got ingrained in my mind. It affects my writing, so
Totally.
here I am.
Totally. I kn I feel like sometimes it's kind of hard, being on LinkedIn exposed to so many different styles of writing and so
Mm,
many different opinions that it's kind of hard sometimes to like, continue consistently and, like, stay, the path that you are and keep in your strategy because you have all these outside influences. You're like, "Well, fuck, that's
yeah.
getting, like, a lot of attention," or like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense." Like, it's kinda hard, like, continuing on the path with all of these outside factors. Do you
Yeah.
have you noticed that at all in your LinkedIn journey?
Oh yeah, I've had issues with comparing myself to others.
Mm,
The entire last year in 2023, for reference, the entire year I struggled with stretching my focus too thin because there are so many different things I could do, so many different
mhm.
strategies I can try, so many different frameworks that I could implement. Hell, even
Yeah.
like hundreds of templates I could give a go. Um, and that's not even talking about like what service, what offer, what platform I could go to.
Yeah, I know.
It's just the abundance and overwhelm of options. I think
Mhm.
our human brain is not wired to deal with so much. And so I was often paralyzed, felt very anxious, and like I grew, but probably not as fast as I wished it to be.
Mm, mhm.
And that's normal for anyone going through any type of journey, but especially if you're
Yeah.
on social.
Mhm.
My advice there would be recognize what is not serving you anymore. And I had to ask myself two questions in terms of people that I follow.
Mhm.
In this case, does do I like this person? Do they genuinely entertain me?
Yeah.
And has their advice actually helped me move the needle and grow my business, even a little bit? And when I asked those two questions, it could be both as well. When I asked those two questions, it was very easy to look at the list of people I engage with and remove
Mhm.
like half.
Oh,
Because all of
yeah.
a sudden I realized I've learned everything I could from them. They're now
Mhm.
recycling shit,
Yeah.
or they're doing shit that I don't like and don't agree with,
Mhm.
or they're straight up in engagement pods and it's obvious to me but
Yeah.
not obvious to the cult that they've built, and I don't
Yeah,
want to be
yeah.
like giving them more power, so screw them. So now I'm focusing on different audience while retaining some of the people that I do like. It's a struggle,
Absolutely.
it's a difficult, yeah.
It is a struggle, it is a struggle, and honestly, you're the first person I've talked to so far that has, like, a legitimate personal branding strategy behind, what you're doing on LinkedIn. I feel like so many of us are neurodivergent and ADHD and like, "Well, I'm just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks." Like, so
Well,
how did
well,
you kinda come up with this
hmm.
strategy? What does that look like for you? How often you revamp it? Like, what tell me about that process for you.
Yeah, that's a very high praise to someone who constantly thinks his strategy is complete garbage. So thank you, huge thank you. My current strategy is making sure there is a clear split in my content between where I purely sell, or how
Mm,
would I say? There are two types of content there right now. One is competence based to show things related to my work,
yeah.
client interactions, client success stories. I talked to this prospect and they were full of shit. This is why I think it's wrong and what you should do instead. This type of thing. Literally reinforce my authority by talking about the work
Totally.
that I do.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
then the second part, which is personal and journey related stories, like milestones of me, like soon it's 1 year anniversary since I left my job,
Mhm.
or a recent struggle that I had, like not so many people know that I'm actually a highly anxious person and I've been dealing with it.
Mhm.
So one reinforces the competence and authority, and I would say
Yeah.
like a basic strategy for too long for me.
Mhm.
And I've realized that to actually grow, I have to go deeper beyond LinkedIn. Because if LinkedIn burns down tomorrow, then so will
Oh,
my
for
business,
sure.
and I
Yeah.
can't let that happen.
Is that where the newsletter kind of revamp started from with that thought?
Yeah, partially because I
Mhm.
used to run a newsletter in up to last year's May,
Mhm.
but that was very disconnected from what I was writing on LinkedIn,
Okay.
and that's partially why I had to stop it because it felt a bit overwhelming, together with all the bullshit from LinkedIn influencers that
Yeah.
I couldn't deal with anymore. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna be constantly plugging that in because it still annoys me. Um, but I relaunched the newsletter now because I realized first I need the emails of
Captures,
people
yeah.
to
Uh-huh.
build, yeah, to capture it. But first of all, yeah, it's a safety net because if
Mhm.
LinkedIn burns down again, I'm not gonna have a business. But also just to build closer relationships because it's more
Mhm.
intimate for me to talk to someone in their email inbox rather than on LinkedIn.
Yeah, for sure.
And it has opened like a door for many more opportunities. Like
Mhm.
my new offer is around ghostwriting educational email courses, not LinkedIn
Okay.
courses. Fuck that, but email courses.
Yeah.
I made one for myself, and it's been very successful. So now I'm kind of doubling down on doing more free resources, like whether it's story prompts or short video guides based in Notion, how to overcome your story paralysis.
Uh-huh.
Like the moment I got into email, somehow my creativity just expanded. Now I can do so much more. And LinkedIn doesn't even feel that important because, like, I can at this point I have a lot of stuff I can just repurpose and keep
Yeah,
the top of the funnel going.
for sure. So can you explain the difference between a newsletter and a blog?
Yeah, a newsletter is something that's delivered to your email inbox weekly,
Mhm.
bi-weekly, monthly, or well, I recommend at least bi-weekly.
Mhm.
And a blog is something static, evergreen on your website. You could
'Kay.
turn your newsletter into a blog,
Got
and
it.
that will be a very smart way to go about it. Justin Welsh does
Mhm.
it really well.
Yeah, he does.
Um, that's one of the things I am yet to do because I am still polishing my newsletter. But the moment that's done, I don't even have a website to put a blog on. But it's part of my 2024 plan. So I'm going to
Okay.
have a more SEO related presence at some point too.
That's such a big word, SEO. I mean, we all
Mm.
know collectively what it is and what it stands for, but I feel like it's such a foreign concept unless you, do it yourself like, you do it yourself and you dive in. Um, what do you have an SEO strategy? Like, have you done that before in your body of work? No?
No,
I
no,
know,
no.
neither have
Even in
I.
my previous job,
Yeah. I'm,
no,
convinced if
no.
I needed
Even
to, I could figure it out, but, it's one of those things that's just like a beast, and I'm like, that, overwhelms me and gives me anxiety. I know what it is, and I feel like I could figure it out, but, it's just the first
mm.
step that scares the shit out of me, you know what I mean?
It is a beast and it is a lot, and that's why I would try to get external help with it
Mm,
rather than
mhm.
try and figure out everything myself because it's an entirely different aspect of marketing.
Yeah, it is.
Um, and another plug there, people that hire digital marketing specialists, whatever the fuck that
Mhm.
means, and make them do social media, paid ads, and SEO. They should burn in hell because they are paying for three people's
Oh
jobs.
my god, I know. This is
Yeah,
fine, it's fine.
yeah. I do not have PTSD from it.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Literally, I feel like
Yes,
that's a
yeah.
quarter of LinkedIn too, is marketers complaining about how shitty it is to be in marketing.
It do be like that, people don't understand marketing and then they
Yeah,
blame everything on marketing.
yeah,
So, like, what do you expect us to do?
yeah, I know, honestly, every time I see this post, I'm like, "Relatable," but, haha, try to turn it around because 'cause I'm like, if we keep on, feeding this narrative that, marketing sucks and we're wearing 50 hats, we're gonna continue pushing that this is, the norm. I feel like we gotta break out of
Hmm.
this this
Oh,
catch-22, this marketing
well, I mean,
society.
I broke out from 9 to 5 and I
Mhm.
don't care about the rest anymore. They can
Yeah.
all fight over who is supposed to do LinkedIn, who is supposed to write the blog content. Not my problem because I know exactly what I'm doing and I'm charging uh, enough for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally feel that. So, okay, so in terms of charging, how do you go about finding your right clients? What's been like the best place for you to source that business for you?
Surprisingly, I did an audit of my
Mhm.
lead pipeline for the last year. Majority of my leads were inbound, which is
Yeah.
a big surprise. I thought pretty much all of them came from referrals. Now, that's leads. A third of my clients came from referrals, clients,
Mm.
not just leads. So they were
Mhm.
actually paying people.
Yeah.
And that's all thanks to my LinkedIn. I would
Okay.
not have this kind of lead flow if I was not present on LinkedIn consistently.
Mhm.
And now I'm trying something new, which is um, I hate saying that because it's kind of cold outreach, but it's not cold. It's
Mm.
more educational, warm outreach because I don't
Okay.
pitch myself.
Mm.
I try to educate people first, and if there is like
Yeah.
a sign, then I plug in, and this is exactly what I do.
Yeah.
I'm still new to that, and I used to hate cold outreach, but I think
Yeah.
that's because 99% of cold outreach is just blatant spamming, um, and that's why I hated it. And I found guys who teach it very well, and I
Mhm.
feel like I'm being converted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 'cause I mean, I feel like nobody likes
Yeah.
being pitch slapped, right? Like, I feel like you have to build the relationship first, or people are
Yeah.
just like, "Nah, get out of here. I'm not about this."
Yeah. And it's, having a strong relationship will help a lot, but it's also educating a person you're reaching out to on the problem that they have. And I will give you
Yeah.
an example. Right now, my new offer is about ghostwriting those educational email courses. And
Uh-huh.
those courses are pretty much lead magnets that help you capture emails better. It's as simple as that to build your
Mhm.
email list.
Mhm.
And I know exactly where in someone's funnel one should plug it in. So
Uh-huh.
I analyze their funnel. If they have a newsletter, I sign up to it. If they have an email opt in, I put my email there. And then
Mhm.
I see what kind of email I get as a confirmation. How does the
Uh-huh.
newsletter actually look like? How does their sign up page look like? I analyze it
Yeah.
before reaching out to them. And then when I do
Mhm.
reach out, I record a little loom and I go through, for example, their confirmation email and I say why it's shit and what you could do better.
Oh.
And
Okay.
I just tell them there's a problem. Here's why I think
Mhm.
it's a problem. Here's what you could do better, and I
Yeah.
could help if you want. And if they
Yeah.
tell me to fuck off, great, that's fine. I educated them, and I
Yeah.
can follow up in a month or two again.
Yeah, because
But
then it's gonna be
more,
nagging in the back of their head too. Even if they say no right there, they're gonna be like, "Oh shit, he said that my,
yeah,
like, whatever was off, and now, oh my god," and they're gonna be thinking about it, and
yeah,
then maybe they'll follow you back on LinkedIn, and then they'll see a post about something that they're interested in and be like, "Oh
yeah.
my god, maybe I should reach out to this Roman guy. Damn, you are an evil genius. I love that."
Well, it's not my original idea. I'm following someone's blueprint, but yeah, that's something I'm now starting to practice, and it's kind of exciting because all of
Mhm.
a sudden you're in control of conversation and you
Mhm.
understand that they have a problem that you can help solve. It's kind of empowering in a way because
Totally.
the parallel that I drew earlier between ghostwriters and freelance writers,
Mhm.
freelance writers could also be like lost puppies, right? They're not sure what they're doing, but they're writing. They're copywriters. They
Yeah.
can write your blog. They can write your ads. Cool. But being a ghostwriter, you really have to know like sales, outreach, conversion,
Mhm.
optimization. If you have some background in web development, that's your edge. If you have background as a graphic designer, that's your edge. My background is in growth marketing experimentation. That's kind of my age. So I run some experiments with content here and there. And once you realize those things about yourself, which can take a while,
Yeah.
it's It's really fun.
Absolutely. It is super fun. I have always kind of struggled, like, finding the sweet spot for myself in my career and, like, always just had a really good attitude about it, just giving it my all as best I
Hmm.
can, but I always felt like I could be more creative or, like, I feel like there's something I'm missing, and ever since I started this podcast venture, I feel like I've unlocked another part of my brain, where, like, I struggle trying to figure out a direction at first and get organized, but I feel like everything's just kind of coming to me in this venture, and it's
Hmm.
actually, like, opened up another door to where I've started this media company where, clients are actually coming to me asking for my advice and my help
Wonderful.
on a really because I have a very unique way of marketing. I'm very quirky and weird and, like, attract mostly Gen Z, which is, like, what a lot of these clients are looking for. They're like, "We keep on, getting all of this pipeline, but it's people that we like they aged out, like, we need younger audience, we don't know how to speak to this audience." I'm like, "Oh, shoot, girl, I'm out here on
Hmm.
TikTok throwing it back, like, I know how to speak the lingo." And it just, like it's so cool that, like, pursuing passions and, like, figuring things out like that opens other doors and leads to new opportunities, and I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now learning things about ghostwriting if I didn't pursue this, which is freaking awesome. I always, like, kind of thought I knew what ghostwriting was, but it's great to hear it
Hmm.
from an actual ghostwriter because it's not like you can just, like, Google it and it'll be like, "This is ghostwriting." It's just, you know what I mean.
That is, by the way, a gap in the market that maybe I should fill.
Yeah.
Whenever I get my website, I'll just create a bunch of articles on what the fuck is ghostwriting,
You
and
should.
you know, be
You
trendy.
should. Because when you Google search it, I'm pretty sure it just pulls up LinkedIn profiles that have
Yeah,
ghostwriting in the profile. And you're like,
yeah. There
"Okay,
are
here's a
now
person. What is a
so many of
ghostwriter?"
them. Yeah, exactly. And even profiles don't explain what ghostwriting is.
Mm-mm.
That's a very common question I get, to be honest.
Yeah, oh my god, you should that there's your SEO right there. Freaking write a definition for ghostwriting, and when people look
All
it up,
right.
it's like, "Here's Roman."
If you're currently listening and you're an SEO expert for some reason, reach out to me. Let's talk.
Yeah. You hear that? You heard it here first, folks, live. We're needing a definition for ghostwriting for the rest of the world.
Yeah, yeah. How did you come across your business? How did that start?
Um, honestly, a little bit out of necessity and a little
Mhm.
bit out of I've always wanted to work for myself, but I've never felt like it was the right time or like I had the right resources or I actually was like ready to start a business myself. But my last job layoffs layoffs happened and it was a little bit
Mm.
unexpected, and being a person that specializes in marketing and recruiting, that's typically the first thing to go, right? When
Mhm.
shit hits the fan, which doesn't make any sense on the marketing front because, like, when shit's hitting the fan, you want to be more out in front of your customers so that shit doesn't hit the fan harder. Um,
Yep.
but as we know, that's a hard truth. So I did something really unique for my last company, and I meshed a specific type of marketing with recruiting, and I did, like, brand evangelism and took the things that
Hmm.
were really cool about our company and advertised it, and basically was an influencer, but also made content on the business page that was different from what's usually on business pages. Like, I was utilizing memes, I was, playing on pop culture references, like, nothing was actually about logistics unless I was, like, making fun
Hmm.
of logistics. So, that was, like, a super new thing, especially for that industry, and I've realized that that's really, a niche thing that I can offer people, and so once I started kind of talking about that on LinkedIn, I had a few people be like, "Hey, wait, can you do this for my company?" And so I did.
Mhm.
I had a interview meeting situation with this other logistics company that was like, "Please come and do this for us." And they are super interested in what I had to do, but the one roadblock I've run into so far is they have an external marketing firm that doesn't wanna give up the rights to the marketing platforms,
I see.
which is annoying because I'm like, okay, well, marketing for the purpose of recruiting is different than the marketing that you're doing to like keep the brand alive. But by the way, what I'm
Mhm.
doing is also brand expansion and awareness and evangelism. So it's like a win-win. So that's what I'm kind of running into right now early in the early days. But that's kind of how it came to be. It was partly out of necessity, partly out of, well, this is the better time of any to start this. I'm kind of, now not doing anything.
Wow.
Might as well
Well,
run with it.
d I mean, that's commendable, first of all, that you decide to start your own thing. I don't think everyone has the guts for it, um, or have not. They don't have it yet. I think a lot of
Mhm.
people should have a side hustle at least.
Mhm.
But did you just start it?
Yes, I did. I actually just made the business page officially last night on LinkedIn. And,
Wow.
yeah, no, this is, like, super fresh, and I have meetings with about 3 or 4 people in the coming weeks to kind of pitch what it is
Okay.
that, I'm doing, but what is so valuable, I think, in the offering is that I'm giving some HR services, recruiting, and marketing all under the same umbrella for one price.
Hmm.
So, they don't have to go to multiple places and pay multiple fees. It's just the one thing and they get, all of the benefit of it.
Interesting. And it's for logistics companies.
Not
That's a
specifically.
very
That's just, like, what's come to me, but 'cause
okay.
I was in logistics previously, in marketing and
Mhm.
recruiting, and there's not, like, a lot of edgy branding in the logistics
Mhm.
space. There's a few people that do it, but, no, I'm open to all kinds of clients, like, preferably, not logistics, honestly, but I'm freaking open, man. I'll learn, I'll figure it out, and I'll crack that wide open.
No, that's awesome though, because the reason I'm quite impressed is because logistics sounds boring. And if
It
you
is.
and if you have managed to make a few clients in that niche or in that industry happy, and you know how to get more of them, that could be a lucrative place to stay in.
Yeah.
Because I know a guy who ghostwrites specifically for trial lawyers in Canada.
Mm.
Like
Oh, okay.
that's super specific, and he's
Yeah.
ex-lawyer himself, so he
Mhm.
knows what's up.
Mhm.
And I have a client who has, who is so unrelated to anything, any niche I've ever tried targeting, but
Mhm.
she's a scheduling consultant for the U.S. military construction companies.
What?
Which is the most hyper micro niche I've ever
Yeah.
encountered.
Yeah.
Um, and she has a corner market herself. Like there's no one in her field doing
Yeah.
what she does work wise, and no
Mhm.
one in her even broader spectrum is as active on LinkedIn as her. So
Yeah.
she's slaying. And if that's the case with logistics, even if there are a few people trying to do what you're doing, I mean, that's at least a place to build a very strong foundation before
Yeah.
you jump onto the next exciting thing.
That's true. That's true. And actually, I'm glad you bring that. Nobody does what I do in the logistics space. There's people that recruit.
Perfect.
It's very corporate though. And then there's people that have their
Hmm.
wild shit posting personality. But there's not like me. I'm like the person. So maybe okay, maybe you're helping me out here with a business strategy. Maybe I do just stick to that niche.
Well, boring industries have money and demand for personality in
That's true.
marketing.
That's true. That's true. I think the
Yeah.
the main problem with it though is that so many of these people in logistics think you have to talk about specifically logistics to be relevant in the industry. And yeah, like you have to
Mhm.
throw some logistics stuff in there, but honestly, nobody wants to hear you talk about your fucking 18-wheeler. Nobody wants to hear you talk about, your POD not being signed or the bill of lading being lost. Like, unless you make it
Mm.
sound funny, like, or entertaining or like education in a way that makes someone feel like they're listening to a story or something, like,
Mm.
it's just it doesn't you gotta make it entertaining or educational or something to keep people
Yep.
there.
And funny you should say that. Story is literally what I do. Like I
Mhm.
refocused entirely towards storytelling, and the reason for that, and the reason why my client in construction scheduling is slaying it, is because she's using stories. Do we
Yeah.
talk about construction scheduling in our content?
Mhm.
Yeah, of course. But we weave it into her own personal and professional experiences in a way that
Yeah.
you actually just read someone's story. And even if it's
Yeah.
educational content, like 3 tips to do this,
Mhm.
um, there is some bits of experience sprinkled in there. It's not
Totally.
dry, and
Mhm.
I honestly believe that regardless of the industry, especially for all of you boring ones in logistics,
Mhm.
accounting,
Yeah.
cybersecurity, and construction, do not discard talented marketers that don't know anything about your industry
Mm.
because they don't have to. What they have
Yeah.
to do is to extract that information out of you together with the ways to make it personal. In my
Yes.
line of work, my job is to extract stories. And
Mhm.
then if I write a draft of a post and it has some wrong terminology, like my client doesn't expect me to know it because there's literally no one else who knows that. So she
Yeah.
tweaks it, she makes like
Yeah.
small edits, she changes a couple of words, but for her it's piece of cake because she knows that
Yeah.
shit. I
Exactly.
don't.
Mhm.
That's not my job. And imagine if everyone in her field were as open-minded
Totally.
to marketing, then maybe they wouldn't have $1 million per day delays in their projects,
Oh my
which
god,
is a
right?
real thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been such an awesome conversation, Roman. Like, seriously, I learned so much, which I love. That's like one of the main reasons I do this is to learn from people that are experts in their field. But
Very smart strategy.
yeah, right? But how about you tell all of our listeners where they can sign up for your newsletter, how they can reach out to you, what your services are before we go ahead and sign off here?
Right. Well, the number one thing is find me on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
Roman Pikalenko. I have a flamingo emoji on my name. I'm based in Helsinki, Finland, at least for now. That's the first point of contact. You should, come in touch with.
Mhm.
And then my profile should have all the links. I have my email course there. I will have my newsletter somewhere there as well. I think I'm not sure. I want to maybe use email course as the main means of getting your emails. You will chuckle in the
Ha ha
background.
ha ha.
Ha ha ha. Yeah. But my LinkedIn is definitely there. I don't have a website at the moment, so you can also just Google my name.
Mm.
Literally, my LinkedIn will come up and a bunch of other things. I've tried. I'm very searchable.
Oh, heck yeah. Look at that SEO
But
SEOing.
again, that's what happens when you're spamming nonsense on your page for 2.5 years. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah. What was the second question?
Oh, I think you covered it all. That was great. Um,
Okay.
yeah, thank you so much for your time today, Roman. I can't wait to continue ingesting your flamingo content and all of your amazing content and sign up for your
Hmm.
newsletter when it goes live.
More importantly, sign up to my email course. Probably
Oh,
even
yeah.
cooler than my newsletter.
Okay, you got it. I'm gonna do that as soon as we sign off here. Scout's honor.
Awesome. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, thank you. Holy shit, that was such a good conversation. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I learned a whole lot about all kinds of things, a slew of things, if you will, a plethora. I just love sitting down and talking with people that are such professionals and so good at their craft and have been at it and, would be considered total experts. So, that's why I do this. I sit down here, I get to meet these awesome people, I get to pick their brain, and we all get to learn together, which is so awesome. So, if you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, please like it, download it, subscribe, share it with your friends. Let's all have some laughs, lessons, and brand new perspectives together. I release episodes every Thursday or Friday Junior if you like to add a little bit of spice. But that's all I have for you today, guys. Until next time, see you on the flip side.